Hello everyone, if you follow my channel you know I don't like greenwash, so when I see it I like to call it out. I was in my gym the other day, yes I do go, you can believe it, I do go to a gym, and I saw this on the wall. These are all over the place, you know, they're in the reception area, they're in the sort of cafe, they're scattered around. And let's see if I can just play this. It's some claims that David Lloyd making about their sustainability. Here it comes. Here's the first one. Let's just pause that there. Carbon net zero by 2030. Fantastic, thought I. That's a really good thing. Let's go a bit further. There we go. So far, our actions have resulted in a reduction of 10,000 plus tons of CO2. Well, that's brilliant. I mean, you know, that's really good news. Is it greenwash? Is it not greenwash? Let's have a look. That's over 10,000 individual passenger flights to New York and back. Okay, it's always good to put these things into perspective. Whether that's the right perspective or not, I don't know. But anyway, look, it's a good thing. Let's have a look. Let's go on a bit further. Tick, 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 tick. Pause it there. So committed £30 million to installing solar PV. Well, that's brilliant. That's really good news. These gyms, some of that I've seen, they've got like a curved roof. So I assume you can put sort of solar panels on curved roofs as well as sort of flat roofs. But yeah, they've got big roof space. This is a good, logical, but still good thing to do. They'll probably get a return on their money. At the moment, solar energy and the cost of sort of grid energy, there's a big differential. So if they're thinking about doing solar, they probably will get their £30 million back. I don't know when. Last time I did the maths, it was about 7 years, but when I did a full costed sort of analysis, that was about 2 years ago. So it's probably less than that. That could be my guess, 4 or 5 years sort of payback time. But anyway, let's go on a bit more. So start this and pause it there. We've committed 20 million in energy efficiency across our clubs. Brilliant, including low energy lighting in the tennis courts and upgrading our heating and cooling systems. Well, look, the LED stuff, it's a good thing to do. If you've not done LED, well, you know, wake up and smell the coffee. But then again, you try not doing LED these days. You try buying any new lights which aren't LED. So I agree with what they're saying, but it's a little bit sort of, well, of course, everyone's gone LED. But what else are they saying? They're upgrading their heating and cooling systems. Well, that's interesting. I wonder what they're doing. Heat pumps? You know. So I thought, well, okay, let's dig a little further. Maybe they're doing a big heat pump push, which would be brilliant. But let's go back to that claim. I think, where was it? They said that one. Carbon net zero by 2030. I mean, how big are David Lloyd? Let's have a dig and have a look at the actual figures underneath that, see whether this is just greenwash or whether this is actually, you know, sort of real life, sort of hard facts backed up by numbers. Okay, so let's take a look. So we went across to good old the internet. I said, how many gyms do David Lloyd have? We've got 125 gyms. So that's quite a lot, isn't it? So, you know, if you've got 125 gyms, that's 125 facilities, all buying things, selling things. They've got restaurants in. I know they've got towel service. They'll have staff. They'll have commuting. So to get to net zero by 2030 is probably, you know, impressive. You know, that's a lot. You know, so let's find out, you know, how big their carbon footprint is. The first thing I did is I went to their sort of accounts. You have to publish these things in the accounts. If you're over a certain size, 36 million of turnover, 18 million a balance sheet, or 250 staff, any two of those three in the UK, then you have to publish these things in your accounts. So let's have a look. So I went across to Companies House, David Lloyd Leisure Limited, and if you look at their website and go to the bottom, that is indeed the name that they've got down here. So we went into David Lloyd Leisure, and here's their full set of accounts to December 22. So let's have a look at their carbon footprint. If it's going to be zero by 2030, let's have a look. It's a full set of accounts. I think Deloitte prepared these. And what I'm looking for is what's called their SECR statement. All that says basically you have to state what your carbon footprint is for scope 1 and scope 2. Right, here we go. The ESG Yeah, ESG. It's normally in the ESG section. It's normally quite clear. There's a little table that you put in normally. So let's try and find that. Well, there's the net zero claims here, but I can't see any reference to what their footprint is here. Wellness, people, employees. I spoke again about that. I can't see it. Look, and to cut a long story short, I did have a look at these earlier. I couldn't see it. I mean, I might be missing it, but, you know, it's normally right in the front, and it's normally wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, you know, in that statement area there. I can't see it. So, but they're a big company, 500 million turnover. You know, it says that later in the report rather. So, you know, they're a decent sized company and they're doing the right things, but net zero by 2030, let's have a look. So going back to David Lloyd and the website here, let's have a look at their sustainability sort of report. Let's have a look at the numbers behind it. As I say, if you're over a certain size, you have to state that in the accounts. I couldn't find that, but let's have a look at their sustainability report here. This is it. So the numbers will obviously be on here, but they're not. If you look at it, down here you've got a nice looking web page with, you know, sort of some outline of projects they're going to do here. None of these are bad, they're all good things. £20 million, that's what they said on the billboard. But there's nothing in here, there's no numbers in here. Reduce the total waste down by 7%. Solar panels on the Luton and Lafinka. So a 2 out of, what did they say? 125. So 2 out of 120 have got LEDs. And they've got some projects down here. But where are the numbers? I can't see the numbers. I can't see sort of like, this is where we're at. This is where we're getting to. David Lloyd open and shut gyms, you know, I wouldn't say regularly, but, you know, I assume that they, like every other company, they change in size. So what I'd be looking for is something that takes away that element of how big, how small they are each year by saying, for example, what's our carbon footprint per, you know, sort of client visit. That would be very interesting to me, because then you could actually track over time the reducing carbon footprint of each visit, which means that if they expand, if they buy another gym, that figure shouldn't really sort of change. You know, the size of the company will have less effect on that intensity ratio. Okay, so that's what I was expecting down here. So there's a responsible business page. I thought, all right, it might be on that. I checked that. Spoiler alert, there's nothing on there. You know, here it is down here with emissions, dotty, and then that's the ESG. But here it goes to our sustainability page, and it just takes you back here again. So, you know, we've got an issue here where David Lloyd are making claims, net zero by 2030. They're turning over 500 million. They got 125 gyms, and I can't see any detail about how they're going to get there. Okay, so they might be doing it. I'm not saying they're not doing it, and some things they're doing are really good, but the lack of detail bugs me. And for that reason, if I had to make a decision, is this greenwash or not? Yeah, I'm going to go with greenwash, because I can't see any plans, any numbers, or anything that says, yeah, this is how we're going to do it. This is the route. This is the plan, etc. They don't have to publish these things publicly, but I wish there was just a little bit more transparency and certainly some numbers. I couldn't find them in the accounts. Maybe they're buried near the back or something like that. But you know, making bold statements like this without the verification, without at least someone else saying, yes, you know, that I agree with that, that's valid, to me is just misleading. So there you go. That's my tuppence worth on David Lloyd. If you like this sort of stuff, if you're into your carbon footprints and corporate carbon footprint, follow me or go to Anistic, my company, where we help large companies save energy and report their carbon footprint, etc. So that's what we do. And hit the subscribe, hit the alert, all the usual things, and I'll see you next time.